You're watching News at Prime. Let's get into this conversation now. AfriForum and Solidarity continue to face backlash over their role in the United States President Donald Trump's executive order halting aid to South Africa. A veteran journalist and author Max du Preez slamming the two organizations for what he calls reversing reconciliation efforts by addressing the country's painful past. Max du Preez is my guest next. Good evening to you, Mr. du Preez, and thank you very much for your time. I want to start off with some of what I mentioned in that introduction, and that is that you say in your opinion piece that this moment feels as though decades of reconciliation efforts have become undone overnight. Explain that to us a little bit.
Yeah, let me just tell viewers that I'm sitting here filling in my forms to apply for refugee status. I insist on living in a trailer park in Colorado.
Yeah.
And I insist that the government should give me a Toyota Fortuner. That's how absurd this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think absurdity is the word to use. I am a white person. I self-identify as an Afrikaner, and I am not a victim. I am privileged. My people's culture and language have flourished since 1994. We're all wealthier. Radio stations, TV stations, publications, books in Afrikaans, flourishing. And the same cannot be said about other indigenous languages. So I'm dealing with this absurd thing of people who I didn't vote for, who speak on my behalf.
Yeah. And
to me, there is a very fundamental principle of democracy and freedom. And it goes like this, and you've heard it all over the world. Nothing about me without me.
Yeah.
I did not give Flip Base and Kali Kriel a mandate to speak on my behalf to Donald Trump or Donald Duck or Father Christmas or anybody. And I think that's a feeling that's becoming to grow in South Africa. There's this private company, self-appointed, a very wealthy company, and they do fantastic things. They build technicons and universities and stuff. But I did not sanction them to go to a foreign country and ask for sanctions on my country. I am not a victim. I don't want to be a refugee. I am an African and a South African, and I am grateful for my privilege, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. You've taken the time, Max, to look back at the political backgrounds of some of the individuals you mentioned, Flip Base, Kali Kriel, and Dirk Herman. Why was that important?
Because they all come from an extreme right-wing background. They all come from HNP and Conservative Party background. And there's been this silent coup in Afrikanerdom, where in the 80s and early 90s, these guys were on the periphery because they were seen as racist and backward. And then came the silent coup by Mr. Buys and Solidarity. And they trade in fear and paranoia. And they say, if you don't join us, the black government is going to take away all your schools. It's going to take away your farm. So join us. And so they have vast numbers of people. They say they have 600,000 members, and they pay between 50 and 150 rand a month, which means they get millions every month. Now, that's a good model to have. It is not a reason why they should speak on my behalf. I did not vote for them. Even if I live in a local residential area, my body corporate cannot speak on my behalf. They ask me for my point of view.
Yeah.
And these guys speak and they say, Flip Base is going to, on a diplomatic mission to the White House, and he's going to speak to President Trump on my behalf. The hell he is. He's not speaking on my behalf. We have integrated in the society. We see ourselves, people like me, see ourselves as Africans. We are grateful for what this democracy has given us. We're grateful for the democracy and the freedom and the open society that we enjoy. And I resent being called a victim who needs to go and live in a trailer park somewhere in America.
600,000 followers who pay the amounts that you've described a month. That's a huge following, Max du Preez. What is the risk here? What's the risk to the country's social cohesion if these individuals are left unchallenged and they continue to sow this divisive language that you've described?
Listen, Corey, I have quite a number of friends who are among the 600,000. They do not subscribe to this narrow Afrikaner ethnic nationalism. They joined AfriForum because AfriForum runs the local neighborhood watch or the farm watch. So there are many reasons why people join AfriForum and Solidarity. There's a lot to admire about AfriForum and Solidarity. The contrast between how efficient they are in building a technicon and a university and the state's capacity to do that is there for everybody to see. So it's very easy to say, a boer maak 'n plan, I'm going back to my people. When it comes down to it, the vast majority of Afrikaners did not want sanctions. They don't see themselves as victims. They have legitimate gripes, but they're the same gripes that you have and every viewer of this program has. We don't like corruption. We don't like government efficiency. We hate the infrastructure falling apart. We hate the state of our cities. You know, all those things. It's not an Afrikaner issue. It's a South African issue.
Yeah. You also take issue with the description of AfriForum as a civil rights organization. What should the appropriate characterization be?
Yeah, I've listened to Radio Sonder Grense, the Afrikaans radio station, and I read the Afrikaans newspapers, and they call them a burgerregte organisasie, a civil rights organization. They're not that. They're an Afrikaner rights organization. And that's legitimate. I'm not saying they're illegitimate. I'm not accusing them of treason like the MK party or anything like that. They have their space. They have their space. But we need to get a proper perspective on where they fit into the society. And they act far bigger than they really are. There's this fear among many Afrikaners. Their language is going to be taken away, their farms are going to be taken away, their property is going to be taken away. And AfriForum and Solidarity are stoking those fears. And even after 30 years, where nobody has taken an Afrikaans school away, nobody has taken a farm away, we still prefer to believe in that. And I think more people, other Afrikaans-speaking people, should stand up and say, ons is nie almal so nie. We are not all like that. That's a power play. We are not nationalists. We're not ethnic nationalists.
Yeah.
We're not exclusive. We see ourselves as part of this nation.
Final question to you, Max du Preez. And the final one, I think it touches close to home because you are talking about journalists now. When a journalist calls out another in public, I'd like to think that that requires pause for thought. In your piece, you single out certain media houses. What role have these media houses played in, I guess, popping up propping up, rather, AfriForum and or Solidarity?
Yeah, I'm specifically referring to Media 24, Netwerk 24, Beeld, Die Burger, Rapport, and Radio Sonder Grenzen, who have normalized AfriForum. If they want someone to analyze foreign affairs for them, they call on AfriForum. AfriForum has been made mainstream by these media. They don't go to the DA, and here's the bottom line, Collie. AfriForum can boast about 600,000 members or whatever. The majority of Afrikaners vote for the DA, which is a liberal, non-racial party. The DA is not in favor of narrow ethnic Afrikaner nationalism. So these media have normalized and legitimized AfriForum to become mainstream. And before 1994, they were on the extreme right.
And so what should the approach be, Max du Preez? Because they're going to push back and say, this is a group that also requires space in the South African society. They have a voice, and they have every right to be quoted in whatever media. And we show as hell,
absolutely.
We invite them here as well.
Yes, absolutely. They got the right to say what they want. They've got a right to be activists for anything they want. We shouldn't ignore them. We shouldn't suppress their voices. We should just remember they have their own media houses. AfriForum has a whole website, a mainstream big website called Marula Media. They run places like Pretoria FM. So their voice is strong. Even the publication that I run, Freyweek, but occasionally asks them, come and put your point of view. I'm not saying we should be intolerant. I'm just saying they are not the mainstream. They are peripheral voices. They're ethnic nationalists. I'm also going to ask people from the MK party and the EFF to come and put their point of view, because they also have a right to say what they want. But we need to not say, this is the norm, this is the mainstream, this is the middle. This is not the middle, this is the extreme right.
Max du Preez, thank you very much for your time.